Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're talking about for Australian coins that are worth thousands of dollars. These rare coins have surprising histories and even mistakes that make them super valuable. Stick around to find out what makes these coins so special and how much they're really worth. Let's talk about the 2001 Australian 50-cent coin, which was made to celebrate the centenary of Federation. This was a huge event in Australian history because it marks 100 years since Australia became a federated country in 1901. Before this, Australia was made up of separate colonies, but in 1901, all the states came together as one nation. So, this coin was designed to celebrate that important moment in time. On the back of the coin, you can see a really special design. It shows all 6 states of Australia coming together, with each state's outline on the coin. The design is very clean and neat, and it really captures the feeling of unity. Each state is represented with its shape, and the map of Australia is placed in the center. It gives the coin a sleek, historic look that feels like it holds a piece of the country's past. Now, here's the surprising part. Even though this coin was made in 2001, it can actually be worth a lot more than 50 cents. In fact, it can be worth up to $10,000. That's right. $10,000. So, why is this coin so valuable? Well, it all comes down to how rare and well preserved it is. Most of these coins were used in everyday transactions, so they're not in the best shape anymore. But the ones that are in perfect condition or uncirculated can be worth a lot of money. If you find one that looks new or hasn't been used much, it's really valuable to collectors who are looking for coins in good condition. A coin that's uncirculated means it has never been used in circulation, and a proof coin is one that was specially made for collectors, usually with a special finish. These are the types of coins that collectors want the most, and they are willing to pay big money for them. So, if you find a 50-cent coin from 2001 that looks really shiny and brand new, make sure you hang on to it because it could be worth a lot more than face value. Most of the time, you'll come across coins that have been spent many times, so they're worn out and not worth much. But the rare ones in perfect condition are the ones collectors are after, and they'll pay a high price for them. Another thing that makes this coin even more interesting is the fact that there were a few minting errors on some of them. Minting errors happen when there's a mistake during the coin-making process, and these errors can make the coin even more valuable. For example, some coins had misprints where the design was a little bit off. In some cases, the state outlines didn't line up properly, which made the coin look different from the normal ones. These mistakes made the coins even rarer and much more valuable to collectors. Some coins also had double strikes, which means the design was stamped twice by mistake. These kinds of errors are very rare and can make the coin worth even more because collectors love getting their hands on coins with unique mistakes. So, to sum it up, if you happen to find a 2001 Australian 50-cent coin, don't just spend it or toss it aside. Take a good look at it. If it's in great shape, it could be worth thousands of dollars. And if it has any errors or misprints, even better. You might just have a real treasure on your hands. Keep your eyes open when going through your change. You never know when you might find one of these rare and valuable coins. Next up, let's talk about the 1968 Australian 20-cent coin. This coin comes from a pretty important time in Australia's history, back in the late 1960s. In 1966, Australia made a huge change to its currency. They switched from the old pre-decimal system, which used pounds, shillings, and pence, to the new decimal system, which uses dollars and cents. This change affected all the coins, and the 1968 20-cent coin was one of the first to be minted under the new system. Design. Now, let's look at the design of the 1968 20-cent coin, which makes it really special. On the reverse side of this coin, you'll find the platypus, one of the most iconic and unique animals in Australia. The platypus is a very strange creature. It has a duck-like bill, webbed feet like a swimmer, and a flat tail similar to a beaver's. What makes the platypus even more fascinating is that it is one of the few mammals that lays eggs, which makes it stand out even more in the animal world. The platypus is native only to Australia, so it makes perfect sense for this animal to be chosen for an Australian coin. This design is a great way to celebrate Australia's wildlife and its one-of-a-kind creatures. When you look at the coin, the platypus really stands out because it represents something that is completely unique to Australia. It's a cool design that makes the coin much more than just currency. It's a piece of Australia's identity. Value. So, how much is this coin worth? Even though the 1968 20-cent coin was made over 50 years ago, it's now worth around $7,500. That's a lot of money for a coin that was originally only worth 20 cents. You might be wondering, why is this coin so valuable? Well, the main reason is rarity. When this coin was first released, it wasn't considered special or rare. It was just part of the new decimal coins that came into circulation. But over time, a lot of the coins were used in everyday transactions, and they became worn out. The ones that were kept in good condition or never used are much rarer today. Collectors are always looking for coins that are in near perfect or uncirculated condition, and when they find one, they're willing to pay a lot of money for it. Errors. Another reason the 1968 20-cent coin can be worth so much is because of minting errors. Sometimes, coins are made with mistakes, and these errors make them more valuable. One of the most common errors for the 1968 20-cent coin is the double die error, which happens when the design is stamped twice. This makes the design look double or blurry. These types of errors are rare, and they can really increase the value of the coin. If you find one of these double die error coins, you could be holding a real gem. So, if you find a 1968 20-cent coin, don't just spend it. Take a look at its condition. If it looks well preserved or has a minting error, it could be worth a lot more than 20 cents. Next, we've got the 1966 Australian 10-cent coin, which is another fascinating coin from the 1960s. This coin is especially important because it was minted in the first year that Australia switched to the new decimal currency system. In 1966, Australia moved away from the old pre-decimal system, which used pounds, shillings, and pence, to the new decimal system, which uses dollars and cents. The 1966 10-cent coin was part of that major change, so it has a lot of historical significance. The design of the 1966 10-cent coin is quite special and reflects Australia's unique natural heritage. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find an image of the lyrebird. The lyrebird is one of Australia's most famous and remarkable birds, known for its extraordinary ability to mimic the sounds of other birds, animals, and even human-made noises. This bird is native to Australia, and it has been celebrated for its incredible vocal talents. The design shows the lyrebird with its magnificent tail feathers spread out, creating an elegant and eye-catching image. The lyrebird represents the country's rich wildlife and the diversity of nature that Australia is known for. On the obverse front of the coin, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which was designed by the British artist Mary Gillick. This image of the Queen is one of the most iconic and widely used portraits in Commonwealth coinage, showing her in a classic and dignified manner. Now, let's talk about how much this coin is worth. Even though the 1966 10-cent coin was minted over 50 years ago, it can be worth up to $3,300 today. That's a huge amount for a coin that was originally just worth 10 cents. The reason for its high value comes down to rarity and condition. Most of the 1966 10-cent coins that were produced have been circulated and are no longer in perfect shape. Coins that are in excellent condition, or even uncirculated, are much rarer. These well-preserved coins are highly valued by collectors, which is why they can fetch such a high price. In addition to the rarity, there are also minting errors that can make the 1966 10-cent coin even more valuable. One of the most notable errors is the no mint mark error. Normally, coins have a small mint mark to show where they were produced, but some of the 1966 10-cent coins were mistakenly minted without this mark. These no mint mark coins are extremely rare and are worth much more than the regular ones. If you come across one of these, you could be holding on to a coin worth far more than its face value. So, if you ever come across a 1966 10-cent coin, take a moment to check its condition. If it's in great shape or has one of those minting errors, you could be looking at a very valuable piece of Australian history. Next, let's talk about the 1970 Australian 5-cent coin. This coin is one of those hidden gems in the world of Australian currency. It might not be as widely known as some of the other rare coins, but it has a fascinating history and design that make it stand out. The 1975-cent coin is from a time when Australia was still in the process of adjusting to its new decimal currency system, which had been introduced back in 1966. The design on the 1975-cent coin is quite unique and special. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find an image of the Australian echidna. The echidna is a small, spiny mammal native to Australia. It's known for its tough spines that protect it from predators, and it's one of the few mammals that lays eggs. The design shows the echidna in a way that really highlights its spiky body and its distinctive, curious nature. The echidna is a perfect symbol of Australia's fascinating and diverse wildlife, and it's a great choice for the 5-cent coin. On the obverse side of the coin, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, just like on many other Australian coins from this period. The portrait was designed by the British artist Mary Gillick, and it's the same image that appeared on coins across the Commonwealth during Queen Elizabeth's early years as monarch. The Queen is shown in a classic, regal pose, symbolising the ties between Australia and the British monarchy. Now, let's get into the value of this coin. Even though the 1975-cent coin was minted more than 50 years ago, it can still be worth a pretty penny today. In good condition, the coin can be worth up to $2,000 or more, depending on its quality and rarity. But how can a coin worth just 5 cents originally be worth so much now? Well, it all comes down to condition and rarity. Most of the coins that were released have been in circulation for decades, which means they've been worn down over time. The ones that remain in pristine or uncirculated condition are much rarer and more valuable. If you find one of these coins in perfect shape, it could be worth a lot more than its face value. In addition to the rarity, there are also some minting errors that can make the 1975-cent coin worth even more. Like many other rare coins, there were a few mistakes made during the minting process, which resulted in coins with slight design flaws or misprints. These errors are highly sought after by collectors, and they can drive the price up even higher. If you happen to find a 1975-cent coin with a minting error, you could be looking at a coin that's worth significantly more than the standard version. So, if you happen to come across a 1975-cent coin, don't just spend it. Take a look at its condition. If it's in great shape, or if it has one of those minting errors, you could be holding onto a rare and valuable piece of Australian history. It's always worth taking a closer look at your coins, because you never know when you might find something special. So, there you have it, 4 of the most expensive and ultra-rare Australian coins that could be worth a small fortune. If you're a coin collector, or even just someone who likes to check their change, remember to keep an eye out for these rare finds. Whether it's a misaligned 50-cent coin or a rare 1975-cent piece, you might just have a treasure hidden in your pocket. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more cool coin facts. And of course, if you've ever found one of these rare coins, drop a comment below and let us know what you discovered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.